your home, to create defensible space around your home, and to have an emergency plan on what you would do in the event of a wildfire. So there's a document out there that's called Ready, Set, Go, and it lays out that process for the homeowner to, one, prepare their home or their property for the wildfire, two, to prepare a plan, and then three, to get that plan in action and to get out when it's time to evacuate. So Ready, Set, Go, that's an easy thing to remember, and you can go to the website at Bexar County Emergency Service District Association. Our website is bcesda.org, and you can find all of this information. You can find current information on the California wildfires, and you can also find these documents on Ready, Set, Go and how you can prepare your home for a wildfire. That concludes what I have for you, and then from here we'll let you guys move out to the trucks, and we'll be able to open them up and show you the equipment, and you can talk to the firefighters out there.
Does anybody have any questions?
Do you have any questions?
Yes, I'm Shravis with Kens 5. A couple questions for you. Is there any signs that this could happen to Bexar County anytime soon? And also, number two, does the Bexar County residents have anything to worry about in regards to this?
Yeah, I think, we're always in a heightened sense of alert with the wildland-urban interface. That's something in unincorporated Bexar County that we face, is that we have a lot of residents that have moved into areas where there's still a lot of wildland around them, but not necessarily directly in the subdivision. That's what we saw in California. So when we get into these drought conditions and you see red flag warnings and things like that come out, it's so important for our residents to recognize those red flag warnings and not be burning and things like that outdoors whenever that's happening. Those are the times whenever we can see things like this happen. Preparing for it ahead of time is really big. Just like your flower beds, having non-combustible things in your flower bed, like rock instead of mulch, or making sure the valleys and the gutters on your home aren't full of leaves and debris, because when you see those embers floating in the air from these big fires that will float great distances away from the main body of the fire, that's how fires start in another location, is those embers land in that valley or that gutter, and then we'll start that house on fire. It could be a mile away from the main body of fire.
And so it's safe to say that Bexar County, from the emergency services standpoint, are prepared if something like that happens.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you see here today is the preparation that the emergency service districts have put in place to prepare for that. But in the event, I mean, we see how big these fires are, 30,000 acres in Los Angeles County. That same type of fire is capable of happening here in Bexar County, and that taxes the resources very quickly and changes the way that we're able to fight fire, because we have to go into more of a triage kind of setting and see, like, where can we get ahead of the fire, and we may have to give some up to get ahead of it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just ignore me on that. Do you have any advice or words for any homeowners who try to fight fires themselves with their water hoses or anything like that?
Yeah, we definitely wouldn't encourage residents to be out there fighting the fire by themselves. What you need to do is prepare ahead of time and get your home hardened before the fire comes. Get this information, look at the Ready, Set, Go document, work on creating defensible space around your home so that you don't need to be there doing that, because we don't want you getting hurt. And we get into these situations where it's hard. Like we saw in California, we saw dozers going down the middle of roads because people left their vehicles in the middle of the road to get away from the fire, which they had to do. But think about if there was somebody trapped down the road behind all of those vehicles, how much longer it takes the fire department to get there. So we don't want people staying back and doing that.
You say create defensible spaces. I remember covering a Hills fire up in Austin 10 years ago, and they had evacuated everybody, closed off the whole neighborhood. I got in there because I was just trying to get as much video as I can. And firefighters were all fighting the fire, but houses that were away from the fire, which is where I was, were catching, as you said, the embers.
Yeah.
How do you create a defensible space in a neighborhood?
So that fire that you're talking about, I'm pretty sure is the Steiner Ranch fire.
Yes, yeah.
And what happened there, and what happens in a lot of cases like that is, like I said earlier, you get a bunch of litter, leaf debris and stuff built up in the valleys on the house or in the gutters of the house, or you have mulch and dead debris that's right up against the house. And so there's something called ladder fuels, like that gets it up into the canopies, but this happens the same way with the house. If you don't create that defensible space and harden your home, it allows the fire to get right up there against it or to be on it, right on the roof. And that's how we see fires like what happened in Steiner Ranch. And then the resources are already so taxed and they're out fighting the head of the fire that they don't even know that that house is on fire. So yeah, that's a very difficult thing, but hardening your home and doing the work ahead of time is how you protect against that. Any other questions? Okay. Yeah, if you guys will head out there to your trucks and open the doors and stuff. Yeah.
Actually, you can stay right there.
Okay.
Podiums are nice, but I prefer more intimate.
You want him in front of it? Or you
I mean, I can zoom in and not have.
Okay.
I think that's a. You can just look in the middle here. I can just look. Thank you.
All right, boss.
All right, sir. First, just have you give us your first name, last name, and your official title, please, and how you spell it.
Okay. Kevin Clarkson. I'm the fire chief for Bexar County ESD number 7, District 7 Fire Rescue. And I'm also the board president for the Bexar County Emergency Service District Association.
And tell us, what brought us out here today? What did you want to let the residents of Bexar County know?
Yeah, I mean, what we want to talk about is the horrific events that took place in California, and we want the residents of Bexar County to recognize that that is an unfortunate possibility for us here at home, and we want them to use this time to prepare their homes in the event for the possibility of a wildfire, so that we can have a better outcome in the future if we do have that.
And how can they prepare their homes?
So we would send them to our website, bcesda.org, where they could find the Ready, Set, Go document that talks through step by step how to begin to harden your home, create defensible space around your home, which means like getting flammable shrubs and things like that away from the connection point of your home. It also talks about using non-combustible material in your flower beds and things like that. And then it talks about creating a plan. What would you do in the event of a wildfire and you needed to evacuate? Where would you go? Who would you talk to? What would you do with your pets? All of those kinds of things. And then it talks about, okay, now the event has happened, it's here, it's time for you to evacuate. How do you get out of your house and go do and execute your plan?
A lot of times, some people or residents might see this and be like, well, that's in California. That's too far away from us. I'm not going to take the time to prepare my home. How important is it for them to actually do that in case that it might?
Yeah, it's super important, and we just talked about earlier about a fire that happened just up the road from us in the Austin area, the Steiner Ranch subdivision. Back, I believe it was like 2010 or 2011, this fire took place in Steiner Ranch. Very, very similar terrain to our area in northwest Bexar County. A lot of rolling hillsides and stuff. And I mean, really the only thing that's different is that we don't have the lake next to it. but the terrain is the same. And there was I believe there was 28 homes that burned to the ground in Steiner Ranch, unconnected, as the reporter said earlier, unconnected to the main body of fire. So it definitely can happen here. We're not trying to scare everybody to death, but it can happen here, and we want them to be concerned enough to take action ahead of time to prepare.
And how likely can it happen? You mentioned the Steiner Ranch, that was 10 years ago, but now how likely can something like that happen?
Well, I mean, the reason why we see gaps in times of it happening or not happening is because of the weather conditions, right? Whenever we get into a real serious drought, that greatly increases the possibilities for a fire like that to happen. So watching the weather is very important for the residents in knowing when and what those possibilities are. And we see those red flag warnings come out, and that's what I was saying earlier. It's super important for residents to pay attention to red flag warnings, to not burn during those times in open flames outside. That's super dangerous and can spark fires like we've seen out in California.
I had a question. How is it different here in Bexar County than, Steiner Ranch is similar, as you said, but there are other parts of Texas that are probably going to be under a warning. How is Bexar County different? How do you fight fires differently from here versus there?
We fight fires essentially the same way. That's why our guys are able to go to California and assist over there. Like our methods, and we follow a national training curriculum. It's called the NWCG, and the National Wildfire Coordinating Group sets out those training standards. So, and firefighters from California can come here and fight fire. That's why we do that, so that it is the same. But it does change with the terrain, right? So if we get up north and we get in